Hey, what's up, gang? This is Jason Ewing. This is the second edition of the PJ Daily Show. I told you yesterday, Pastor Jason Daily Show, that's the PJ. Wanted to just touch base with you again today. I'm sorry I'm not wearing a Hawaiian shirt like I said I would, but sometimes you just go with what's in the closet. Hope you had a good evening here in Weatherford, Oklahoma. We just had a little bit of rain. It's kind of cooling off, and things are going pretty good as far as our church and other things like that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Ewing. I'm the pastor here at Zion Church. Zion Church is a Christian Protestant denomination. And I just want to take time, 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 7. I know I can't always promise that I'll go real short or anything like that. But I just want to take a couple minutes and share some thoughts about God, maybe a little bit of humor, as I said, also a little bit of encouragement. And sometimes we'll mix all three of those. Sometimes it'll just be one thing. Sometimes it'll be all 2 or 3 things or whatever that might be. I want to go and touch base on something that I said yesterday. The verse that I said on Isaiah 48:11, I went back and looked at that video. And I don't really think I made a good connection with the verse that I was talking about. I said in Isaiah 48:11 that I wanted this to be all about that. Well, I didn't really explain what that was. And so I want to read it again, and it's Isaiah 48:11, and it says this. It says, and this is God speaking, as I said yesterday, it says, for my own sake I do it. For how should my name be profaned, and my glory I will not give to another. What I really want to know what that is, that I want this to be about, is to understand, why does God do anything? What is God's motivation for doing anything? Why did he create the world? Why did he create you? Why did he create me? Why do churches exist? Why does life exist? Why do you have what you have? What we're going to discover, and I might touch base on this through several segments here and there, is that God is utterly self-centered and self-motivated to proclaim his own fame and his own glory. To put it another way, you and I would look at self-centeredness or looking for selfish interest or our own interest as a negative attribute. We would say that person is very selfish if they're just doing everything for themselves. You and I need to understand that God, it is essential and ultimately necessary that God is self-centered and self-motivated for everything. It's for his own glory that he's seeking. I want you to think about the opposite of that. If God wasn't out for his own interests, and if he looked outside of himself for satisfaction, or outside of himself to be happy or pleasure or experience satisfaction, you and I would be in a world of hurt. The first commandment says, you shall not have any other gods before me. But God is understanding that you and I have to follow that command to seek God as and only God for our ultimate source of satisfaction and pleasure. But God is not required to do that. He seeks to himself for pleasure and satisfaction. Consequently, everything he does is for his own benefit. It's for his own glory. And so that's why Isaiah 48:11 says this. It's what God is saying, for my own sake I act. For my own sake I do it. And he says, my glory I will not give to another. And I love the very last line in that verse. He says, for my own sake I do it. For how should my name be profaned? My glory I will not give to another. God is very selfish with his glory. He's very self-centered in that fact. And the thing is this, is I think so many of our religious acts, so much of our, what I believe many would be called to be authentic gestures of worship, are basically thinking it's about us. I want you to think about how many people complain about worship music. And they think that the worship service is there to please them and to tickle their ears, when actually everything that God says is about him. So shouldn't it stand to reason that everything about our churches should be about God and for God? Is the preaching for you, or is it for God? Do you receive benefits from the preaching? Well, I hope so, and I pray so. but really the preaching is really just an audience of one. I think there's a song that talks about that we're singing to an audience of one. There's this old, well, I'm kind of running out on time, and I'll just kind of wrap up with this. There's this old, what do you call it, philosopher, I guess. His name is Soren Kierkegaard, however you want to, Sjogren or whatever. I can't get his first name right real good, but it's Kierkegaard. And he gives an illustration about what a worship service should be like. And he says this, he says, many times a worship service is like a little children's play. And that children's play is this, is where you have the teacher on the side over there, and you have all the little kids up there in front, and the parents are, and the audience is out there, and you have the kids standing up there looking at the teacher to the side saying, okay, what's my next line? We look at church service like that, where we have the preacher and the song leader and the choir up there on the stage, and then you have the audience out there, but God's over there on the sideline, and he's holding up the cues, telling what the preacher what to say, and telling the choir what to sing, and we're there to kind of entertain and inform the audience. But Kierkegaard kind of gives a whole flip to that. He says, you know what it really is? He says, not only do you have the preacher up on the stage, and not only do you have the choir, and you have the music minister up on stage, but you also have the congregation up on the stage. And really the audience is one, and that is God. Because everything should be for God, everything should be God-centered and God-focused. Because that's how God says he is. Isaiah 48:11, I love that verse. We'll talk a little bit more about how biblical it is for God to be the center of your universe. Again, keep praying for my church. Remember, I'm trying to shave this off, but we can't do that if nobody fills the parking lot. And I can't really think of any other funny stories, but I hope this encouraged you, and I hope it give you a second to think about God, and I hope you think about his glory and his fame. And I'm just going to challenge you. What is everything about in your life? Is everything in your church, everything in your family, and everything about you? Or is it all about God? I'll talk to you later. God bless you, and I love you.